to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast starring me, Christopher Bolson, and my best friend, or one of, Alison Hoare.
Yes, that's my name, in fact.
Do you know why I changed up the intro? It's because I forgot what I usually say. Welcome, we do stuff.
We do. We do, in fact, do some things, such as bring the news occasionally.
There we go. That's it. Yeah.
That's what we do on this podcast.
You know why I'm so off put and not on the right track right now is because
why?
It's because the gosh damn pandemic's come back, innit?
It's kind of made its way back.
All of our government boys and girls, but statistically more boys in there.
Yes.
Were saying like, hey, this pandemic, we fucking kicked its
We're
ass.
done. We're finished with this corona bullshit.
We got in a bar fight with coronavirus and we threw it through the window.
We did one singular punch on coronavirus's soft spot on their head.
And it flew out the window like in the Matrix.
Absolutely.
But
it's
little
done.
did we know that, much like in the Matrix, coronavirus is very good at replicating itself.
What? A virus can replicate?
Now we're looking out the window of the bar and there's a lot of Hugo Weaving-shaped coronaviruses out there just trying very hard to get in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But they have made their way in fact.
They got back in, unfortunately.
They got back in via Queensland.
Which is typical.
Which is, it goes to show. Queensland has to, not Queensland, sorry, Victoria. Did I say Queensland before?
You said Queensland, and I was like, it would though, unfortunately.
It would.
But unfortunately, Queensland, for all who listen, Queensland is like Australia's Florida.
Yes.
Victoria, I guess, is like our California.
I'd
say
maybe,
culturally
but I say
it
they
is.
probably think they're more cool, so it would be like Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, okay,
Just
so
as
Victoria's
the entire
Oregon.
state is Portland, Oregon.
I think South Australia, hot take, Nevada.
Okay.
New South Wales is just kind of like a mishmash of the general Bible Belt. And
Outside of Sydney, yes.
yeah.
And then in Sydney, I don't know what city we
and then
would be.
suddenly we're like a really shit LA.
I feel like I can't effectively roast Sydney because I like Sydney too much.
I don't, but also it has no identity. So like, what am I gonna make fun of?
It's okay. Sydney is like when you go on SimCity and you just click make city. You know, there's no like character to it. Or
It's just
special.
it's a city and it's there.
It's like it's like the home brand city. It's a city that exists.
Yeah. And Western Australia is the Deep South, obviously. I actually don't know if like the racism quotient is higher over there. I think we've got it spread out pretty evenly all across the country.
We do. I think it's pretty even. It just manifests itself in different ways. But anyway, coronavirus.
Tasmania is called Hawaii.
Coronavirus made its way back through Victoria. Victoria, the state where they like to be, do things a little bit differently to the rest of Australia. And they saw the rest of Australia was like, hey, we don't want coronavirus anymore. And because Victoria it wants to be different and special,
nerds.
They're like, look at that. Like, actually, we do want coronavirus. Because we're not the same as Sydney. Sydney doesn't want coronavirus. We want it here.
We're going to get all that juicy Roni right up in our situation. And the government's going to send a large militaristic sort of battalion of cops to lock down all of the public housing buildings.
Yeah, we know that's where the problem is, Chris. As you know...
It's the pause,
As you know, the people that are most likely to be coming back from overseas holidays and cruises are poor people.
Well, Alison, that's what they're spending all their ill-gotten Centrelink money on. They're unemployed
that's why
and
they're
they're just
in public
like...
housing, because they spend all their money on cruises and holidays, Chris.
It's because they just really needed to go to Disneyland now that Disneyland's
Jesus
open
Christ.
again.
Is Disneyland open again?
I think they're opening it up. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter complaining about that.
Well,
I haven't read into it, but you guys are fucked.
I must say, as messed up as it all is here in Australia, I think America is having it a lot worse. And I think maybe
just
Disneyland
in every conceivable possible
stay
way.
Closed. Now, Christopher, while we're talking about diseases, do I want to jump into my first story just a little bit?
Yes.
This story isn't super interesting for like fun.
Cool.
It's not super funny. But Look, I just thought with all the cool things happening in Australia, this story that I found on The Atlantic, which is actually a very good publication if you were looking for genuinely, insightful news pieces and all that kind of stuff, check it out.
I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, in Australia we've had our fires earlier in the year.
I forgot about that. It was so long ago.
You forgot about that, exactly. We had our fires.
Do you remember when we couldn't breathe for like 3 months?
Yeah,
How
well,
fun
actually,
that was?
I could because I was in Indonesia. But what I couldn't do was go outside because there was a lot of water.
Well, we weren't allowed to go outside because the air wasn't there anymore.
Right, exactly.
And then after that finished, we weren't allowed to go outside because the air was full of nasty germs.
Exactly. Whereas I was dealing with a flood that covered half the city.
And now we
really
don't go outside just because it's kind of gauche.
Just because now it's like, it's not really cool anymore.
Yeah, like we're in too deep.
Yeah, exactly. But I do have a story to bring you. And I just read this headline as I was scrolling through Google News. And I'm like, this is really nice to know as well. So let me read the headline.
Okay.
And Australia has a flesh-eating bacteria problem.
Oh!
That's nice to know, Chris.
Oh! Interesting. Okay.
Thanks, The Atlantic, for telling me this.
You know what, The Atlantic? I think I maybe would have preferred to just remain blissfully ignorant on this one.
I think I may have just preferred to just deal with the corona and not worry about the flesh-eating bacteria that's also around, apparently.
Unfortunately, Alison, you have uncorked this flesh-eating champagne for me, so if you could now tell me more about it,
You'd
that
like
would be
to learn
sweet.
more. Now, I'm going to read the subheading. It says, in the beach towns south of Melbourne, everyone, it seems, knows someone who's been attacked. It tracks. It's Victoria, bringing in the flesh-eating bacteria to the country, as well as coronavirus, bringing that back.
But to be fair, they do have pretty nice restaurants.
But is it worth the flesh-eating bacteria? Perhaps.
You win some, you lose some.
Look, I'm going to read this story. As I said, it's not particularly funny, but I just think with all that's happening in the world, I thought you might want to know about the flesh-eating bacteria as well.
I don't know, Alison. I hear flesh-eating bacteria, and I think that's pretty fucking funny, dude.
In case you weren't already scared of going outside, flesh-eating bacteria problem, thanks The Atlantic. About a week after Stephen McCutch began taking antibiotics for the strange spot on his leg, the flesh around his ankle started to tighten and swell. The moist orifice of a wound opened up and took the form of a small bullet hole, Chris.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Oh, this journalist,
you
Brendan
be able
Borrell.
to get small bullet holes without bullets. That's a general life rule.
Brendan Borrell is using his actually objectively good writing skills to make me feel very disgusted.
Nauseous.
I'm going to keep reading.
Okay.
A plug of tissue had gone missing, dissolved into pus and slime.
This is visceral.
It takes a lot to get through that first 2 sentences.
Hey, does it get better or worse from here?
It gets more informative from there.
Okay.
Walking was excruciating, working unbearable. In early October of last year, McCatch showed his ankle to a colleague at the hospital where he works in Melbourne, in the Australian state of Victoria. She suggested it might be Buruli ulcer, a disease caused by a strain of flesh-eating bacteria. Though McCatch had seen local television reports about an outbreak of this tropical disease in Victoria, it sounded so freakish, so unlikely, that he hardly considered it a possibility. But like hundreds of Australians before him, he was about to become all too familiar with Buruli, a slow-moving horror show that has proved, in many ways, even more baffling to infectious disease researchers than the novel coronavirus. After decades of research, scientists still aren't certain who or what is spreading this strange malady around the world.
It's got to be tiny little zombies at this point. Like, there's nothing else that it can be. Little,
Chris, it's
little mosquito-sized zombies.
Look, as I said, I was scrolling through Google News and I'm looking for some stories that are funny and I just saw this headline and I'm like, I didn't need to know this.
No.
The flesh-eating bacteria is coming for us next.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
To put it simply, we're all going to turn inside out like this one time
absolutely.
on a in high school, we had to do cadets, which is like baby army.
Yes.
And one time we were on a hike, and a guy named Callum, who was in my year, thought it'd be really funny to see what happened. He found a leech. So he decided to put a bunch of Bushman's insect repellent on it. And it just dang turned inside out. It was not pleasant to look at.
Yucky, Chris.
And I just think that's what's going to happen to me.
Yeah, I guess at this stage, I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. In late October, McCutch met me inside infectious disease ward at the hospital where he works and is now a patient. He is a soft-spoken man of 54 with the body of an ageing rugby player. He was dressed in shorts and flip-flops.
What a bizarre description of a human being.
It's very specific. A bandage
It's kind of like somehow sad and horny at the same time. It's very weird.
The author is saying, I would hit that if I was a little bit tipsy.
Yeah, it's like, were I would be happy with my mum hitting that.
Exactly. A bandage had been slapped on his left ankle. It was just a little spot, but I felt there was something different about it, he said. We were soon called into an exam room where McCutch's white-haired, bespectacled doctor, Paul Johnson, greeted us. Johnson has been studying Brûlé cases in Australia for decades. He sees every new case a chance to crack the disease's enigma. A few weeks earlier, McCutch had divulged to Di Johnson one telling clue. His parents own a beach house in the town of Rye on the Mornington Peninsula, south of Melbourne. He had recently helped them out by doing bushwork on the property and had likely returned to the city with unusual scratches and mosquito bites. Look, the story goes on quite a lot longer than this. If you're interested in learning more about this disease, actually this article is quite interesting. I did read the whole thing earlier.
But unfortunately, this is not a learning podcast.
This is not a learning podcast, but this is a really interesting article, and I do advise you can check it out on The Atlantic.
I'm sure Google, there's an episode of 99% Invisible about flesh-eating bacteria.
I'm sure there is. Just Google Australia has a flesh-eating bacteria problem by The Atlantic, and you can learn more about the next thing to be afraid of after the coronavirus.
I'm so curious what watch lists you'll get put on for that Google search.
Chris, if that gets you put on a watch list, I don't want to know what my other Google searches get me put on watch lists for.
Oh yeah, no, the government is like, the government doesn't think I'm dangerous. They're just like, he's fucking weird.
Absolutely.
I bring you a story sent to me by, I believe, my mum.
Absolutely.
This is from 7news.com.au. It's from the lifestyle section. It's written by Kelly Burke.
Great. Sounds wonderful.
German man accidentally spends $2.3 million buying 28 Tesla cars online.
Okay.
A glitch on a futuristic car manufacturer's website has resulted in a man unwittingly ordering 28 Tesla vehicles online. The German man realized his gut-churning error after receiving an invoice from Tesla totaling about AUD 2.3 million. The story came to light. Yeah. It's a hefty sum.
It's a big invoice to receive.
What I imagine. I don't know what his income level is, but that's like getting quite a few power bills at once.
Yeah, exactly.
The story came to light on Reddit on Monday, with the man's son explaining how his dad accidentally purchased more than 24 of the luxury electric cars.
Okay. Firstly, if you're the car company and someone is just ordering 24 cars I would assume they're all probably the same car.
I believe so, yes.
Would you not be a little bit suspicious that someone is ordering 24 of the same car?
If I'm Elon, who I'm assuming does all of this ordering stuff himself, I see just like orders coming through one after the other, I'm going to be like, fucking sweet, I'm making
The Tesla website
today.
Is like his personal Etsy. He's just set up like an Etsy shop front.
Every time you tick a box on the Tesla website, Elon gets an email. That's why he doesn't read his emails.
Yeah, exactly. And also, every car that you order from Tesla comes with, a little scented note card with a personal message from Elon to say thank you for your purchase.
And it smells like Elon. It has his musk.
Yeah, it has Elon's musk on the card.
It's not pleasant.
No.
Under the Reddit moniker Balloon Man, he explained how his dad almost ended up with 27 more Tesla Model 3 cars than he actually wanted.
Christ on a bike.
Looking to replace the aging family Ford Cougar, the father decided to take advantage of the German government's cashback incentive to switch to an electric vehicle. So he opted for Tesla, because
Why
he's a
not?
basic like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buy a Prius, bitch. The Model 3 is the most affordable car in the manufacturer's lineup. Tesla is also much more accommodated to customers ordering their pricey purchases online, something only the coronavirus epidemic in recent times has convinced other manufacturers and car dealerships to move towards.
Sure.
It was a no-brainer decision, and so was what happened next. Right.
I mean, did they just straight up roast this man?
Well, no,
and
it's
kind of say he's got no brains?
Then they say, writes the Canadian automotive news site driving.ca. So what 7 News has done is they've presumably found this Reddit post and then also found another article about this Reddit post and thought it was funny enough, that roast, that they wanted to repeat it.
I like that they're giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah, they're accrediting their dunk.
They're like, look, we weren't the ones who wrote this rude thing about this man, but also it's really funny, so we kind of want to write it.
Balloon Man's dad added the autopilot option to his online cart and then clicked confirm to send the order to Tesla. Nothing happened. So he clicked confirm again.
Oh, fuck, I've done this before, Chris.
And again for about 2 hours, according to his son. Excuse me. Eventually, the website responded, thanking the customer and informing him that his 28 Tesla Model 3 cars would soon be on their way. Tesla is reportedly very picky about refunds over any of its products.
I mean...
So even the AUD 164 non-refundable deposit for each and every one of the unwanted cars would have cost the hapless dad more than $4,400.
Jesus Christ.
However, in this case, Tesla responded with compassion to the man's frantic phone call. It has refunded the non-refundable deposits for 27 of the cars.
Yeah, well, fair fucking enough.
And went ahead with processing the order for just one $85,000 Model 3.
But, you know, have you ever been in that situation where you have, in fact, been signing up for something and you've clicked submit a whole lot of times because nothing happens? The website's non-responsive. So you assume that, okay, well, I didn't do that. I didn't submit that. And then it did submit a bunch of times.
I have done that more than once in my time. I've never done it to quite this impressive a scale.
No, I mean, personally, I've never bought a car online, so I've never had to contend with that possibility.
I've never bought a car, period. So, like...
Well, I didn't want to straight up say that, but that's also true.
I'm a sad poor millennial, and I don't own such things. But... I don't know, the closest equivalent to this I have experienced in my day-to-day life is recently I've been buying some camera equipment off Amazon because that's the only place you can buy it in Australia for cheap. And because Bezos is my dad, apparently.
Well, of course he is. Of course he is.
Praise the Lord, Jeff. I hate that the richest man alive is named Jeff. That's just upsetting.
He shouldn't be the richest man alive.
Anyway, the way the Amazon app works is there's like you just press like the Pay Now button and it just like does it instantly. But with like camera stuff, if you're buying like rig bits, it's all very like fiddly and you've got to be like find the right screw size for something. And almost always, whenever I order something, I'll immediately find something else for the same price that's like very slightly better. But I have discovered that if you order something on Amazon and then cancel it within like half an hour, they just cancel it and that's fine. So,
sure.
I guess all I'm saying is that out of the two evil companies, Amazon has better customer service than Tesla.
Sure, exactly. You don't need to frantically call up Amazon to cancel your
Just be
order.
like, please, Jeff, please, I need my $10 back. I don't need the cold shoe mount, Jeff. It was too good to pass up, Jeff.
Oh my god. I honestly feel like if you had good customer service and you saw someone was ordering 24 cars, would you not, like, call them and be like, is this really what you want?
That's the thing. That's what we're learning is that Tesla has no fraud prevention, essentially.
And also doesn't have a functional website that sends you to like a landing page when you click submit.
Well, no, because they had to spend all of their money making the cars all fancy and shit, and so they didn't
Yes.
have any money left over for website.
Well, Elon had to take a rather large grant to win over Grimes' heart, so they
Yes.
couldn't put any more money in the website design.
Grimes' heart is on a pay per like hourly sort of
Yeah,
rate.
exactly. It's an hourly rate for her heart, which, you know, good hustle to her, I would say.
She actually makes she constantly talks about how, like, I'm not getting any money out of this. All the money I have is mine. And I'm like, Grimes, that makes me like you less.
Yeah,
Like-
I would respect you more if you were
Yeah.
hustling him for dollars, because that would make sense.
And this way you're just being like, no, this is my taste in men.
yeah,
This is what I want.
At which point... exactly.
This just makes me so sad.
Oh, God, it's depressing, Chris.
Do you have a story for me?
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, I'm going to read this one. This is the mood we're at now. I'm on 7 News, and I've got another shopping story because, as you know,
One of the 4 news sources still remaining in Australia.
That's true. Listeners may have noticed that we are using a lot less, like, home brand local newspapers, and that is because
Because
They
Rupert
just-
went and shut them all down.
they
didn't
just
he?
simply don't exist anymore.
Rupert went and cancelled all those bad boys.
It's quite hard to use these stories when the papers and
when
publications simply don't
they
exist.
cease to be.
Most of the non-daily publications from Daddy's Media, as you know, Australian community media, have shut down.
Yep.
What else
So
have shut down?
as honestly we should have expected based on the title "Daddy Has Fucked Us."
Yes.
And there's not a lot we can do
Absolutely,
about that.
absolutely. And of course we know Rupert Murdoch has gone and shut down all
Rupert
the rest
Murdoch,
of the local
or
newspapers.
Granddaddy, as he is known,
Right, exactly.
has also fucked us, just
Which
in a slightly more.
really makes our podcast quite hard to do, considering our whole
Yeah.
shtick is finding local news stories from local newspapers from small towns. That's where we started. And now we simply don't have any small towns or local newspapers left
Our
to
premise
cover.
has been summarily abandoned through no fault of our own.
Well, here's what happened. Firstly, all the small towns burnt down in the fire. And then
Yeah,
now...
that didn't help.
That didn't help either.
There's actually no small towns left
Yeah,
anymore.
they
all
all
the people are
burnt
dead.
down.
I've got a hot take. Here's my conspiracy theory, Alison,
Sure.
is that Rupert heard the heat we were bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
He was just like, these guys are making me look like an idiot, and I can't take them down legally because they're just too powerful,
Well,
these
we
two.
simply, yeah, exactly. We're just
Like,
simply too powerful.
just-
We've got
just
too
a-
much influence.
Imagine the controversy if Rupert Murdoch tried to take down the Red Menace podcast.
It wouldn't go well for them. They've
So
had too
he-
many lawsuits.
He did the easier thing and closed 3/4 of the newspapers in Australia.
Right, exactly. And kind of fucked the entire local news sector in the country. So anyway, now we're resorting to...
What we're saying is we're sorry, we didn't mean for that to happen.
Yeah, what we're saying is we're sorry, but you're going to get a lot more news stories from...
7 News.
Yeah, from 7 News, which I tried to avoid, but here we are. They're probably the worst news source left in Australia, so that's where we're going to get
That's
most
saying
of our
something.
good stories from. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to get into this story, which is from the lifestyle section. It's another shopping story right out of 7 News. You know how much we love shopping stories here. And in fact, I believe this might be the same shopping journalist who I covered a story from last week or a couple of
This
weeks
is the
ago.
person on the Coles beat. Hell yeah, I love that.
This is the person on the Coles and Audi beat, yeah.
the supermarket.
The supermarket beat, exactly.
I'm a supermarket journalist.
I would like to get on the supermarket beat if that's what it takes to get a job. So,
I think you need to just go to an Aldi and just start interviewing people. And
exactly.
just be like, you got any, go up to the cashiers and be like, you got any juicy stories for me? Got
You
any
know, like
news?"
the newspaper that I write for that no one reads, we've got to get on the supermarket beat, and maybe that's how we can get a
That's how you
readership.
get readership, Alison.
That's how we get readership. Anyway, so this is actually from the Kmart beat, Chris.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know there still was those. Please
And you
continue.
know, air fryers are kind of the new hot thing.
No, what is that?
Well, an air fryer is like a small oven.
Okay.
And
I was going to
that's-
say, isn't that just an oven?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to now call my hot plate like a bottom cooker or something.
Yeah,
'cause,
exactly.
Like, all right, please continue.
Anyway, Kmart shopper unpacks new air fryer oven and makes a bizarre discovery. So what do you think could be this bizarre air fryer discovery?
I think it's going to be that the air fryer is shaped like a rude finger emote.
Like the fucking emoji one from last week. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
There's the face of Jesus inside it. Is
Well,
it one
actually,
of those?
well, I think I'd rather the face of Jesus inside my air fryer than what was actually found
Is it the face of Donald Trump
inside the air
inside
fryer.
it?
By the way, this story also comes to you directly from the Kmart Hacks and Decor Facebook group.
That's my favorite kind of journalism. And you can see it with the Reddit post earlier where you just browse a forum and read it and be like, that's pretty good. I'm going to write 1,000 words about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I mean, I can't say I haven't done that before. Moving
Got to
right
get
along.
content from somewhere.
Moving right along. A Kmart shopper has shared a disturbing discovery, which she claimed to have found while unpacking a new air fryer oven. By the way, Kmart sells air fryers, Chris, in case you didn't gather from this maybe sponsored content.
Unfortunately, Kmart, I have an oven, so I'm good.
I don't need one.
I feel like I'm going to get a bunch of angry tweets after this being like, you fucking idiot, you don't know what an air fryer is for. And to which I say, I don't want to know. I'm
don't
comfortable in my
care.
ignorance.
I own one frying pan. I don't think I need an air fryer.
I own 2 frying pans and a wok. I'm on top of this shit.
Whoa, you are professional.
Yes.
Posting on a popular Facebook page, a Sydney customer claimed she had just finished pulling the new appliance from the box when she discovered a Bond's G-string hidden inside the oven.
Oh, that's better than I could have possibly expected.
For our American listeners, a G-string is what you guys would call a thong, not what we would call a thong, which is a shoe.
One of the people I used to date in my younger, more frivolous years
Yes.
would, for the first 6 months of our relationship, would always be wearing that type of underwear.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you doing this for me? You don't have to do this. And she was like, oh no, this is just what I like wearing. It's what's most comfortable for me. That was a fucking lie.
Is it comfortable for anyone?
That was just some deep state, deep cover trying to justify that. And by the time she realized that I wasn't going to run away, she was just like, all right, time to hit the reset switch.
Just
And
gonna throw on my granny panties that everyone
And
likes.
I preferred that because I think the most attractive woman is a comfortable woman. Hot take.
Chris, you simp, Christopher Bolson. You absolute simp.
I am a hardcore beta cuck, and it's how I like it.
I just heard soy boy all over this podcast.
Yeah, I jizz soy milk. It's really
You just
unhealthy.
soy milked all over this masculine real alpha podcast. You just spilled your soy milk all over it. And now I don't think I can continue with this story.
I just
but
made
I
it
will.
too effeminate. It's just not cool enough.
I will press on. Despite the simping that's happening.
Okay, I'm sorry. I only
front
will
of me.
say misogynist things from now on.
Yeah,
I
thank
promise.
you very much. Thank you. Don't do that. This is what the post said. It said, so I'm unboxing my new 11-litre Kmart air fryer oven TM today, and I find a G-string inside, she wrote on Kmart Hacks and Decor page.
Hot. Ayo.
What the hell?
It's because it's a pun.
I mean, yeah, it is pretty hot.
That was the joke, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But while some initially found the shopper's bizarre claims humorous, the reactions soon turned to shock when it was revealed that Kmart doesn't sell bonds, leading some to say the G-string may have come from another shopper. Yeah, Chris.
Very interesting.
There's a conspiracy here.
Now, here's the question was there a tag on the G-string, or was it just the undies?
Well, shall we continue the story?
Yeah, okay.
This is Kmart doesn't sell bonds. I have so many questions, said one.
I only have
Another
one
added-
question, and that's, did it come off of a rack or a vagina, because like that's a very different vibe.
Exactly. Another added, the only thing I can suggest what happened was that when someone returned it, they put it in there, and the worker didn't know, so it went back on the shelf. Said a third, obviously a return. I'd be sending it right back. Wrote one more. I think it's safe to say those aren't brand new either. There is look, it doesn't look like a fresh pair.
Oh!
You can't see any dirty.
But like someone could have made a whoopsie and then been like, I gotta change this out. And then just like air dried over time inside the thing.
Well, that could be what they were doing. Perhaps this person was using their air fryer oven to dry clothing. And maybe this is the whole point of this post. This is a conspiracy. This was posted by Kmart trying to sell their air fryers. And what they were trying to demonstrate was that their air fryers can in fact be used to dry clothing as well, if you so wish to.
Well, yeah, like I don't own a dryer, so if it's like a rainy day, I just kind of like toss my socks in the microwave, sorts itself out.
Yeah, I don't even own I don't own a washing machine. I put my underwear straight in the dishwasher.
Well, I just
stretch them
wear
over
it.
the dinner plates.
I don't actually change my clothes. I just like wear my clothes in the shower and then just wash them that way. And then I just
towel dry yourself, including your clothes.
I just go and sun myself after, and it sort of sorts itself out.
Yeah.
My underwear is kind of constantly wet. There's a lot of mold. I have jock rash like crazy.
But like, it's saving the environment.
Saving the environment and saving me money.
Yeah, well, that's a very good idea. This wasn't a life hacks podcast, but
I also
right now
don't
we're
use
dishing
soap.
out a lot.
I just, when I shampoo my hair, I just kind of let it drizzle down over my clothes, and I figure that's pretty much what a washing machine does.
It's pretty much the same thing. Just letting the shampoo suds like just soak into your body.
It's all the same chemicals, man. It's all a conspiracy anyway,
Well,
so
it
like
kind of
whatever.
is. You're kind of onto that there. What do you think happened? Why do you think the G-string is in the air fryer?
I think probably the most likely explanation is someone returned it and they were sort of just doing a little bit of Tetrising of like their shopping or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I really love the idea that someone was in the Kmart and they had a whoopsie. And they were like...
They wanted to hide the evidence.
Yeah, so they stole a new pair of underwear because, like, you know, if you're going to steal anything... and just like put them on, and they were like, "I've got to do something with these. I'm not putting them in my bag. Ew, gross."
Yucky.
So they just found the closest enclosed space, which happened to be a oven.
An air fryer. Yeah. Well,
I would have put it inside I could see that, like just looking through like the crockery aisle and just being like rice cooker, air fryer, like which one of these is the best option?
Right, because someone might take the lid off the rice cooker and have a little look inside to see the non-stick
funniest one would have
coating.
been put it in a blender. That would have been real good.
Let someone turn it on before they discover the G-string inside.
But then you won't know what it is. It'll just be shreds of urinated fabric.
Shreds of urinated fabric.
Yes.
What a phrase.
This is where...
What a phrase.
The world has come to. Well, no, it's where I've come to.
It's where you're at. It's where you're at in life, talking about shreds of urinated fabric. Now,
yes.
what I think happened was I like the idea that this was a grand conspiracy. I do like that, right? And I do like the idea that, you know, Bonds, basically, it wants to get its product in stores. You know, and they know Kmart ain't having any of their Bonds TM underwear. So they're like, how can we get our product to customers?
Do we think that maybe Bonds and air fryers are made at like the same factory in some poor, godforsaken Southeast Asian country where all the workers are getting exploited? And like... Bonds is just like, you'll get a bonus if you just sort of slip some of those undies.
If you just pop it right in there. Either that or Bonds, as you know, is the name, which is also James Bond is a spy. So basically... You see where I'm going with this, Chris?
I don't, but I can see some galaxy brain energy coming out of my microphone.
Chris, this is all I can... This is... all logical. So Bonds is the name
Alison,
of the spy.
I'm just looking at my audio interface and the levels have disappeared. It just kind of says like what the fuck on it. Like it's not
like the little peaks have turned into like a WD.
Yeah.
No, okay. Anyway, so James Bond is a spy Bonds is the underwear company, which is Bonds trying to hint to other spy organizations that they are also a spy organization so that spies know, right? And so what Bonds have done is they've used that connections of other spy organizations, for example, MI6 or whoever it is that James Bond works for, the real, very real man, and they've gone, hey, we need to get our Bonds underwear into stores, and Kmart ain't having it. Can you slip this into the store so that customers buy this underwear and have it in their home?
I'm very taken by this idea of a corporation taking on the identity of their namesake after the fact. Like, Bonds being like, we've been Bonds for a long time, and this Jimmy guy comes along. We should do that.
We should become spies. Yeah.
I want to see if there's a company out there called, like, Bourne that makes, like, flippers or something. And then they can be like,
Baby Bourne, the doll company.
yeah, Baby Bjorn needs to rebrand as like a gritty, shaky cam baby company where they sell baby monitor cameras, but they're always just like on a little swivel wobbling around.
Yeah,
So it's really,
exactly.
So your
it
baby's
always
life looks
kind of cool and
action-packed.
action-packed. Yeah. And that's what...
And they only
know,
sell them in sets of 3, and the monitoring software rapidly cuts between the 3 of them in such a way that it's very hard to see what's going on.
Right, exactly. So now...
At me, Paul Greengrass. Fuck you.
Now this woman, or this shopper, I don't know the gender of the shopper, I guess it's a woman. The shopper has received the Bonds G-string, and she thinks to herself, this is a very high-quality G-string. And then what she would then do is she will then go to Kmart and say, I would like to purchase some high-quality Bonds G-strings from your store, Kmart. And then Kmart will have to bring them in stock.
They'll have to like get a contract with Bonds just so that they... If you return a oven and it turns out it's got another product inside it, does that mean you get extra money on the refund?
Well, that's a good question. Do you get the cost back for the item that you paid for and also the item that was inside the item you paid for?
Exactly. And since they don't stock the item that was inside, surely you can set the price.
Well, exactly. You can write your own price tag for that.
Well, I mean, no, in the legal system, it does automatically say that every unlisted price is $69. So it's just that.
There is
Which
a
is
market.
pretty good for a single pair of underwear.
If this isn't new, there is a market for that product, and they will have to pay the going rate for used underwear to get the used underwear returned.
Now, I don't know how much that costs because I'm a respectable young man.
I don't know how much that costs either, but I'm sure if they looked into some shady places in the internet, they could find the going price for that.
Can I give you...
I need another story, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to give you sort of... I don't have like any one big story, but I want to give you little bits of a few different stories.
Sure,
just like
that
a
sounds
small...
good. That sounds good.
Yeah, I want to give you like a platter of stories.
Right.
Just because they're a
A
little...
smorgasbord, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Just there's little bits and pieces in all of these that are fantastic.
Right.
So this one from ABC News, headline is, The F1 of the Future, Flying Car Set to Take to the Skies in Outback Cooper Pedy. And the headline, which is fucking... No, the lead is, like a scene straight out of Mad Max, flying cars are set to grace the South Australian outback in Cooper Pedy, where the original film was shot. Now, Alison...
Were there flying cars in Mad Max?
There were most certainly not.
I've never seen Mad Max.
I have, and there was not any cars. There were only regular cars and some big trucks with flamethrowers on them, none of them flying.
Yeah, I know there is a car with a guitar man strapped to it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was a flying
But
car
it's
with a
not
guitar
an
man
airborne
strapped
car.
to it.
As far as I'm aware, in any of those films, I don't believe there's any flying objects at all outside of like bullets.
Right.
So this is just like a very aggressive way for this journalist to say they've never seen Mad Max, and I kind of dig that.
Yeah, do you know what they're doing? This journalist has told one of their friends that they're a big fan of the Mad Max series, and they haven't been able to come clean. They haven't found the right situation.
They just don't like action movies is the problem.
Exactly.
They'd rather watch a nice rom-com.
Yeah, and so they haven't had the heart to come clean yet. They haven't known how to go about like admitting that. So they're just dropping hints. In every article they write, they're dropping hints to say, I haven't watched Mad Max, in hope that their friend
We'll one day
bring it-
summarize what Mad Max is about
yeah,
to
that their
them.
friend will bring it up.
They'll
and say-
bring Mad Max the
Right.
Blu-ray over, and they can watch
Exactly.
it together, and they'll be like, "Oh,
Well,
thank
actually,
God."
what happened was the journalist wasn't pretending he or she liked Mad Max. The journalist simply received like a gift, and it was like a Mad Max pop vinyl figure or something like that from this friend.
Okay.
And they had to pretend that, oh, this is really cool. I love Mad Max. And so the friend from then on is of the belief that this person loves Mad Max, and every gift and every like conversation is related to Mad Max. And so they're trying to drop hints that they've never seen it and that they don't in fact like it, so that
What
their
if-
friend will stop.
What if they have seen Mad Max, but they haven't? The only version of Mad Max they've seen is they bought a DVD from a Gumtree ad, and they had to go to like a back alley behind the Ivy
Sure,
nightclub
sure.
to get it.
Yeah.
And then when they watched it, they were like, "Oh, this is cool. It's got like flying cars and shit in it." And what they've done is they've just sort of spliced up, essentially like After Effects
Right.
flying cars from the Star Wars prequels into Mad
Yes.
Max Fury Road, just like in the background, just flying around while all of Tom Hardy does his stuff.
Oh god, that sounds beautiful. Yeah. Oh, it's like they've bought one. What's happened is they've gone into the shop, and they've found a movie which is kind of similar to those like movies that are like, what are they called? The rip-off blockbusters, mockbusters. It's a mockbuster movie called Mad Max, but Max is spelled Macs, and
Mad Max and the Order of the Phoenix, starring flying cars. It's
exactly,
very good.
exactly, yeah.
I would love if all of the Mad Max movies had to have Harry Potter-esque subtitles, where it'll be like not Mad Max Fury Road. I want to see Mad Max and the Fury Road. I want to see Mad Max and the Chamber of Secrets.
Right.
Mad Max Return of the King.
Or it can all be titled like Fast and the Furious, where it's just like an assortment of random titleizations.
The next one is just called Mad Max. Then there's Mad Max and the Furious.
and then there's just Max.
Fate of the Max.
Yeah.
I'd watch a movie just called Max. That sounds like a
Right.
cool title for a movie.
What's the next little
nugget?
morsel? The little
Okay.
morsel of the smorgasbord.
This one is Sydney Morning Herald. This is from the opinion section. And this is just kind of like a series of letters to the editor sort of things.
Sure.
I'm only going to read you the first one because it's so choice, and it's from your hometown of Port Macquarie.
Oh boy.
Cows have a lot to answer for, reckons Judy Turnham of Port Macquarie.
I mean,
Training for a triathlon, I decided to do a bike session, leaving home mid-morning because that would be the approximate time of my ride during the event.
sure.
With a lot of traffic on the road, I was extremely cautious, came up to a large roundabout turn to turn left, saw a truck coming but knew I had plenty of time. As I came out of the roundabout, the truck overtook me. Not a problem for either party until a cow of the rear vehicle exploded,
Excuse me?
sending excessively moist manure out of the side of the truck and all over
I'm
me
sorry?
and my bike. Fortunately, I had sunglasses on and my mouth closed, but it was an exceptionally hot day, and by the time I got home with a
Jesus
fly escort,
Christ.
it was baked on.
This is the most horrifying thing I have ever heard.
She just kind of got like shotgun blasted by a cow's asshole out the side of a truck while she was just doing her cycling.
Christ.
And I just think that's
cannot
so
think
choice.
of like a worse nightmare happening. It's like I'd rather just get straight up hit by the truck at that point.
I know, right?
I mean, you'd probably die, but at least you wouldn't be covered in shit and have to like make your way home.
I would rather be
covered in
covered in my own blood and bones than to be covered in cow shit.
And then here's the thing, right? It's not even like she's at her house and covered in shit. She has to make her way home covered in
God.
fecal matter. Cows do indeed. I didn't know where she was going with that, but cows do indeed have a lot to answer for.
Yeah,
if that is her experience.
This
with
is a
them.
cow who ate too much dairy, and it is punishing this poor
Yeah.
innocent woman
Yeah, absolutely.
for its crimes.
Perhaps she ate too much dairy, and now the cow is getting its revenge as it once do.
Do you want to hear something that's heartwarming but kind of cringy at the same time?
I would like to hear something that's heartwarming and kind of cringy. Yes, I'd like to get this image of being blasted by a cow out of my head.
Well, this is it's still animal related, but it's kind of the
Right.
opposite.
Sure.
This is also ABC, written by James Findlay. Cluckingham Palace is the chicken coop fit for a queen.
Jesus Christ. Okay, quickly before we get into this story, Chris, can I regale you a little story that happened to me yesterday?
Okay.
So my sister and I were walking around Kmart, like just looking for something. I was looking for a hot water bottle.
Looking for a new Bonds G-string, but you couldn't find one.
Right, I was looking for a new Bonds G-string, but they didn't sell them in Kmart. We went into like the doll section and we're looking at Barbies, and Barbies have certainly changed a lot since I was a kid. They've got like all sorts of different body shapes.
Yeah, they're all lesbians now.
You know,
oh my god.
We found like a cool like, well, there was one that was called like Princess Adventure Barbie, but it was a Ken and he was wearing a Prince outfit with acid wash jeans.
What the fuck? Okay.
That was great. But the thing
But
was,
at the same time, kind of hot.
kind of hot, yeah. The thing that I was most interested in though was the new line of dolls that's like Barbie can be anything, and it's like Barbie like doing lots of different careers. So one of the
Barbie can be an influencer. Barbie can be a police officer. Barbie can be
exactly.
unemployed.
Right.
So many options. The three options in modern society
Absolutely.
is influencer, cop, or dead.
So what happened, Chris, is we found the dolls. We're looking at them. There was a nice pediatrician Barbie. There was a dentist Barbie. There was a soccer coach Barbie. All sorts of careers. And there was also the chicken farmer Barbie.
Was there a gynecologist Barbie?
No, there wasn't.
Oh.
But there was a chicken farmer Barbie, which is every little girl's dream, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a more chill life than the lives of these other ones.
Yeah. And,
Although I don't know, maybe chicken farming's actually really hard, and I'm being
Chicken
extremely
Farmer Barbie
rude.
was wearing a shirt that says "Live, Love, Farm," and it came with a lot of
fucking
chicken
adore
accessories.
that shit. That's so choice.
Like
Don't wake me up until I've had my farming.
in Mattel, they're running out of careers for Barbie to do, so they're like, "Oh, what have we got to do? Chicken Farmer Barbie."
Live, love, pediatrics. Like, I think we can apply this to everything.
Oh god, I wonder if I can find it. Chicken Farmer Barbie.
I want a shirt that says London, Paris, New York, accounts receivable, or some shit like that.
Here we go. Barbie Chicken Farmer doll and playset. Here we go.
Do you get little, like, feminized chickens with it? Or are they, like,
there are
normal
little chickens that come with it, Chris. I'm going to send this to you. You can buy it on Amazon if you would like to buy a Chicken Farmer Barbie.
Well, I do owe Jeff a lot of money.
I'm going to send it to you. You got Facebook open?
I can get it open.
Well, there you go. I've sent you the link to Barbie Chicken Farmer doll and playset. Live, Love, Farm t-shirt.
This looks like an influencer who's gone to a petting zoo.
Right, exactly.
And they're like, women can do anything. Live, love, farm. Look at this chicken that I met today and will never see again.
Exactly. This is what it says. It says, Barbie career dolls and playsets inspire kids to dream big and aim high. These Barbie playsets turn work time into playtime with job-related furniture and accessories that let young professionals explore their dream career.
Okay. I don't like that we're having to filter all this through the horrific spectre of capitalism, but it is what it is. The third image, she's just kind of holding a chicken under her arm like one would hold like a basketball.
Right.
And I don't know how familiar you are with chickens, Alison, but
They don't bounce.
They're awfully flighty creatures, and I can't imagine a chicken being super chill with that.
I do like this dot point though about Chicken Farmer Barbie.
They fucking do bounce. You're just not trying hard enough. Please continue.
It says, each includes a special element for even more storytelling possibilities. Each Barbie doll wears a career-themed outfit and has additional accessories to help her succeed. I've got to admit, Chris, if I was a chicken farmer and that were my career, I might think I'm not wearing short shorts in the chicken farm, because here's the thing. Chickens have claws.
Yes.
And that's all I'd like to say. If you would like to continue with your chicken story...
They got claws, they got spiky heads. Also, I think that this is a sign that all those chicken farmers out there, whatever you're wearing to do your chicken farming, it's not sexy enough.
Right.
Like, if
Chicken
you're
Farmer
not...
Barbie is out there in her Live Love Farm and her mini shorts. And what are you wearing?
If you're not wearing, like, cut-offs and oiling up every part of your body to play with your chickens, what are you even doing? You quit now, you lazy fucks. So, there are chicken coops.
God.
And then there is Cluckingham Palace, the coop fit for a queen. Chickens have always been a popular backyard companion, but since lockdown started, more animal enthusiasts are adding chooks to their families. And whilst we are a big fan of a hen, we are bigger fans of this hen house constructed by Diane in central Victoria. Complete with a swing, xylophone, draped nest boxes, and chicken-themed art gallery, Cluckingham Palace has created quite the flurry of interest from poultry pundits across the country. I wanted to make sure that they're not roaming the property, that when they're not roaming the property, they have enough space to be happy and healthy, because that was the most important thing to me, Diane told the ABC Central Victoria. I knew I wanted it to be very attractive looking, and I wanted it to be a really unique feature. I spent a lot of time finding the perfect door. The 12x4 sized coop also displays Diane's chicken-themed artwork, primarily of roosters, so that the girls have something to look at.
Jesus Christ.
That is function.
Like
She's basically made a chicken pin-up poster.
Right, exactly. She's put photos of sexy roosters around the chicken farm for the gals to look at.
This is my Ben Affleck rooster poster. It's so good.
Oh, God. I love that.
That was a bad
beautiful.
example because we all know Ben Affleck is not a sexy man. While the henhouse is quite the hit with its design, it's also built and accessorized with purpose. I designed it in a way that it's not too cramped and there's space for them to roam, Diane says. If there's nothing for them to do in the coop, then you start having the issues of them pecking each other and getting bored. The coop is also self-sufficient with a 10,000-litre water tank to collect rainwater and self-feeding and watering stations. Diane has said that she has no further planned upgrades for Cluckingham Palace, but one thing is for sure, they are the luckiest girls in the game.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just can't get over the fact she put, like, sexy hot boy rooster posters around for the girl chickens to have a look at.
It makes me think I'm not treating Tiny Tim well, because I don't have any...
put some photos of, like, gal cats around.
I don't have any pictures of fucking hot nude cats over the apartment. And I think
for
that
him to enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just watching my TV shows
Right.
with, like, all of these, like, pretty human women in them.
Right,
and I think Tim's
exactly.
like, this is racism against me.
Yeah, this is... I want to see the sexy hot
Why
gal
aren't-
cats
why
or
aren't
sexy
you
hot boy
showing-
cats.
Why aren't you showing
You
me
know.
sexy cat TV shows, Chris?
Right, exactly. You've got to get on that. You've got to help him out there. You've got to give him some material to enjoy.
Also, the bit where that said that she'd installed lots of, like, automated stuff, I've got to say, Tim does not enjoy automated things. He doesn't get enjoyment out of toys unless he sees that I stop doing whatever I'm doing
Sure.
to play with him with his toys. He really wants me involved. And
Oh,
not,
yeah. He's
and
very needy.
And he just
Very
wants me to
needy.
stop doing what I was doing earlier, which is usually, to be fair, nothing of value.
Absolutely.
Shall we wrap up?
It's been a good sesh. I'm glad I learnt about Cluckingham Palace. That was a good place to end. I mean, a good place now.
Yeah, it's like, again, kind of cringy, but nice.
Yeah, exactly. Look, power to her. Now, if you've got pets, you've got to be out there giving them plenty of material to look at, like this lady
Listeners,
is.
if you could do me a favor and just sort of tweet at me or DM me any sexy cat photos you have.
Any pictures you have of your cat looking like it's ready for some fun with another cat.
Yeah,
you know?
just like I want like
Yeah.
essential. Please don't let them be underage cats. I don't know how to tell, so like please double check that first. That's like so critical.
And make sure it's consensual. Ask the cat for
Yeah,
permission
exactly.
before you take the photo.
If you could send me an image of a signed waiver with like a paw print on it, that would be
yeah,
really
that'd
good.
be great. That'd be perfect.
You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menace Cast or on Facebook at The Red Menace Podcast. You can find our merchandise at tpublic.com. It's basically one thing it's the logo. But, you know, we're not artists.
Nope.
We're only artists of laughter. Hey.
Exactly.
And yeah,
And
it's
even
about-
then it's questionable. That's it. That's
we're
the end
artists
of the
of
show.
occasional accidental laughter. We throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall, and sometimes some of it bounces back and hits us in the face, and we have to edit it out.
Yeah,
It's mostly
exactly.
me that happens to. Thank you everybody for listening. Good luck and good night. Lizards unite.